Welcome back for another helping of Oysters, Clams, and Cockles. I am Ross Bolen here with my buddy Mr. Barrett Dudley to bring you the best TV shows and movies weekly in an easily digestible podcast packed with laughs.
Yes. Benvenuto al teatro, a.k.a. Oysters, Clams, and Cockles.
What does it mean? What is el teatro?
Teatro is just the name of the restaurant. I don't know I didn't look up if teatro has any actual
meaning.
Italian meaning.
It's just mocking all of the...
I will tell you a word that I did have to look up, though, and that was miskite.
Yeah, you and I are not familiar with the Jewish
Yiddish,
people's
the Yiddish
slangs
terms? Yeah,
and
no,
such. No,
not so much.
What does that one mean?
Well, the meaning is it's pretty fabulous. It's the Yiddish word miskite, meaning someone so homely she's actually cute.
That is an incredible insult.
In other words, so bad it's good.
Yeah.
So ugly it's kind of cute.
Yeah, I get that. A lot of animals have that feature.
Yeah, yes.
You know? Yeah, for sure. That's
Benvenuto,
not what you want to hear.
Benvenuto to all the members of the Clam fam out there. May I show you this way to a table next to the window?
Ah.
Yes.
In the good section.
I'm a benevolent maitre d' here at OCC.
Oh, good. Well, we're back already. It's only been a
couple days. That's right.
And we're going to be discussing the
back
penultimate.
On track. Back on schedule.
We are. The schedule. The penultimate episode of the Outsiders' first season. One more to go, people. And quite the setup we have here. And
indeed.
The 7th episode of Curb Your Enthusiasm's 10th season as well. We have a top 5 today.
Okay.
That we're going to do. It's going to be a fun show. We watch a lot of TV and movies, as I always say. And when you watch a lot of TV and movies, your eyes can get a little tired, which brings us to our first sponsor. This episode of OCC is brought to you by Felix Gray Glasses. I constantly have a screen in my face from morning to night. There is no cutting back. It's my cell phone. It's my laptop. It's my gaming PC at home. It's my TV in my living room when I'm watching a show during lunch. It's my TV at night when I'm watching movies or shows in bed. It's nonstop. We can't get away from screens anymore in 2020. It cannot be done, which results in tired, dry eyes, headaches, blurry vision by the end of the day. You can have trouble sleeping as a result even. You cannot have that. And as a guy who's worn contacts since he was 14 years old, when I take my contacts out at the end of the night, especially living in Austin, Texas, where we have terrible allergies, my God, my eyes are tired, and I do get all these symptoms, blurry vision, headaches, trouble sleeping. It definitely happens to me. Not since I've been wearing my Felix Gray blue light glasses. Felix Gray launched in 2016 with the singular focus of offering the most effective computer glasses on the market with all the quality of brand name designer frames, and quickly became the internet's favorite blue light glasses. They filter out 90% of high energy blue light, Barrett.
That's a lot.
99% of harsh glare.
That's a big percentage.
Whew, huge. Almost all of the glare coming from your screens, it's going to be gone. You put on your Felix Grays, you're going to notice an incredible difference immediately. It's awesome. Unlike other brands who use cheap blue light coatings that are ineffective and can chip or scratch, Felix Gray uses a proprietary blue light technology that's embedded directly into the lens. Also available in prescription, non-prescription, and readers, Felix Gray has you covered with optical glasses for work, sleep glasses in the evening that are clinically proven to increase melatonin secretion when worn up to bedtime. Why would you buy glasses from a company whose sole focus isn't making glasses? I trust Felix Gray because they make the best blue light glasses in the game. Go to felixgrayglasses.com/OCC and get a pair of blue light glasses from the pros today. Shipping and returns totally free. That's FELIXGRAY glasses.com/OCC. felixgrayglasses.com/OCC. Another way to support this show and get more OCC in exchange is by going to patreon.com/Oysters, Clams, Cockles, where in the great month of March, Barrett.
Yes.
We are starting off hot tomorrow.
Hot.
With a great debate.
Hot.
Tell the people.
Tomorrow, by popular request, we are going to be breaking down our top 5 actors and actresses.
Yes. We're going to do them individually by actors and actresses.
Yes.
We find it's the only way to include enough of them. If we only did 5, it would be impossible.
It'd be pretty tough.
It's going to be tough anyway.
Yeah.
But we're up for the challenge.
Too many cuts.
Cuts.
If we include all of our top living actors, top 5. Top five. Both sexes, all into
Yeah, one bracket.
Into one bracket.
Can't be done.
That's right. So we're going to do top 5, and it's the way that we're a big part of the discussion will be the way that we choose our top 5 and the way that we each see fit to include people, and why we are doing so and how we got to the top 5. But the caveat here, the qualifier, is that this is top 5 right this second.
Yes.
So aging actors who maybe are a little bit past their prime. Pacino, Clint Eastwood,
De Niro.
Guys like that, De Niro. Less likelihood of them being included, I would say.
I would say so.
You know?
Maybe.
It's possible. Who knows?
My parameters may be different than yours.
That's right.
We're going to find out.
But we're going to find out.
We're up for the challenge.
And I think we're doing that tomorrow. So
yes, sir. That'll be our first episode on patreon.com/Oysters, Clams, Cockles this month, where all of these episodes...
That's spicy content right there. I would pay $5 for that alone.
Ad-free, too, baby.
Me personally, I would.
Everything on Patreon is ad-free. That's the other caveat. You support the show, and in exchange, those extra episodes, they don't feature ads. We appreciate all y'all. We're also going to do a movie club, throwback movie club as well, perhaps this month.
Doubling up. We've got a free space.
Woohoo!
Like when you play, you get a bingo card.
Oh, you love the free space.
And you get the middle one. It's got like a star or something. It's a free space.
Makes you feel safe.
Yeah. Who doesn't love a free space?
We've got that, and then of course at the end of the month we'll do our hotline call extravaganza for the members of the Mollusk Militia, as we always do.
That's right.
Of course, when you're in there on Patreon.com/Oysters, Clams, Cockles, consider that the Crustacean Nation is phenomenal, but the Mollusk Militia has the hotline call extravaganza.
That's right. That's where you get a voice. You get a say.
Yes.
Not that you don't, but you might have a say already, but you might get to hear your own
It can become your podcast.
On the podcast. That's right.
Only on patreon.com/Oysters, Clams, Cockles. All right, Barry, let's talk about the Outsiders.
Okay.
Penultimate episode, season 1, episode 9.
Okay.
It's penultimate Kuko time. The episode was titled Tigers and Bears.
Foxhead, then Tigers and Bears. Foxes, Tigers, Bears.
Wow. Where are the lions?
Right.
Disrespect.
People are saying that. People are asking
Many
that.
people are asking this question.
Yeah.
The entire episode basically sets the stage for what will be, I assume, a violent conclusion.
It is an hour-long stage setup.
Yeah.
It's an hour of setup.
They flipped the penultimate concept that we were very much anticipating on its head.
They did.
They did no penultimating.
They really just, it was just
They pushed it all back.
Big lead up. Yeah.
They pushed it all back. So you have to argue now that we could remove even another episode from how many they could have done this season. No,
I don't want to sound like a broken record here. So at this point, it is what it is. They wanted 10 episodes. They got 10 episodes. It's been a good show despite that. And
despite the crawl.
And at this point in the series, in the season, I'd be lying if I told you that I didn't watch that episode and I was like, well, there it is again. There's the proof that they could have shaved 2 episodes off of it. But
yeah.
I already had, I feel like I already had that proof anyway. And this episode I thought was a great kind of mood. It was very atmospheric. I liked
the music, dude.
The music was good. I liked the I liked the lawyer just going off and getting chicken with Claude.
Yeah.
Because, it's fried chicken. I like fried chicken.
Hey man, we need some levity here. Bring the chicken in.
Yeah.
No, I liked the episode.
It was all good.
It didn't move the plot forward.
It's all good,
obviously.
man.
Yes. Shouts to Better Call Saul. It didn't move the plot forward, but that being said, I thought it was a very good episode.
Yeah, I still thought it was a great episode.
Just in terms of it really did further the drama and the darkness and the anticipation for what this climax will look like.
Mm-hmm.
I like the little. So we open with that flashback, right, to these 2 boys getting out into the woods. They find this cave. They go down into it through this back entrance or whatever because they don't want to pay the 25 cents, and. This is all, we don't have any context to that at first. What we find out is, over the course of the episode, of course, these boys' father realizes they're missing, finds that they are down in this cave trapped, has to get this search party going, and that entire search party ends up getting trapped down there.
They really brought in a hell of a lot of dudes
They brought in 36 people or some shit?
To crawl through a small cave.
And then they're all yelling. In a cave.
Yeah.
Which is Cave 101.
Yeah, it was poor cave etiquette.
It was.
I would say.
Very poor.
It seems like you maybe should have sent a smaller party in there to see what was what before just being like, okay, everybody in.
Whole town into the cave. Look. And Jan's like, maybe I stay back just in case something happens so I can call for help. And they're like, Jan, get your bitch ass in here. You're coming in too. Like, what were they doing?
Yeah. So just poor decision making there on the spelunking expedition.
Just trash.
But that's poor decision making precedes many a tragedy, I would say.
That's the way El Cuco crumbles.
So yeah.
Yeah. So what happens here is we find out through what's his name? Seal. That
Seal.
Yeah.
Yes. Are Seal and Claude, are these like Southern names that I don't know about? What's going on there?
I don't know. I don't really want to insult anybody, and that's the only way I can discuss this.
These guys are they're all from old Rocky Top there in the Tennessee montañas.
I think it's just like, they're supposed to be like mountain trash people or like hill people.
Claude and Seal?
Claude alone.
They sound like they're French.
Listen, Claude Monet, we retired that name. It's up in the rafters. We're done. No more Claude. Seal, though, Kiss from a Rose. We might need to retire that one, too.
Do we have a spelling of Seal, of this Seal?
Seale.
That's weird. I feel like
is it French?
Maybe Richard Price went to a small town in Tennessee. He went to the public records and he looked back at some old family names to dig those up because those are just out of nowhere. Or I guess maybe they're straight out of the Stephen King novel. I don't know.
Oh yeah, well you have to assume that. Yeah,
I guess so.
Probably.
Yeah,
probably. But Seal reveals that everyone down in this cave dies. Right, the cave collapses, and I guess the real question here is, other than the obvious significance, is this where El Cuco was spawned as a result of that much grief and suffering in one tragedy? Because you have to imagine, if you're looking at it exponentially, we're seeing one little kid gets taken and what happens. Mm-hmm. Well, this was two little kids descending into a cave, resulting in the death of 36 adults too, or whatever.
My thought was more along the lines of not that this was where
the origin,
this particular El Cuco, if he is one of many, or if he is, obviously if he is death and grief and suffering, then it didn't originate there. But if you think about it, this is where, as Seal tells us, they lost all sorts of ancestral peoples in that cave, right?
Right.
So this is a source or a home of Claude's
grief
and misery and suffering and
through his
family history, right?
Right.
So that's why it's there, because it's turned into Claude, and so he's
in the most powerful place he could be, it seems, though.
Yeah.
To draw off of that sort of grief.
Exactly. He's soaking it all in because there was so much grief in this location.
It did sort of make me think of that concept, if this is the only El Cuco, or was this one born through that tragedy, and then is it a thing? You know what I mean? It's just that symbolic nature of it all.
Right.
Kind of makes that a questionable gray area still.
Yeah, because, I don't know if he just goes on global tours or whatever, but he seems to be spending an awful lot of time in the U.S. Southeast.
Is it a Santa Claus situation? Can he hit a lot of areas in a very quick succession? Is it what's his deal here?
So, yeah, I'm not sure. Huh. Perhaps he could be... Look, we learned something new about... They kind of dropped something on us here in episode 9 that we didn't know about the old Cokester, and that is that his doppelganger, the guy or girl that he doppelgangs, he can see through their eyes
and gets the information they get.
He has all-knowing power, everything they know, including any new information.
It's like that ball.
So you tell Claude something, and Coco knows it.
It's like that ball in Lord of the Rings. The little Pip goes and grabs like a dipshit, and then suddenly Sauron can see everything that he can see and knows everything that he knows, and they're like, you fuck, now they know where Frodo is. What the hell's wrong with you? Yeah. But then it turns out he didn't actually give any information up because he's a strong little hobbit.
Yeah.
Strong-willed, that Pip.
Or when Billy Madison's little friend, he gets him to call Veronica Vaughn and ask if she would date anybody from class.
Yeah.
And he does it wrong.
He fucks it up.
You blew it!
Yeah.
What
a line. What else happened in this fucking episode?
Well, there was the best chicken, 200 miles.
200 miles for chicken.
Yeah.
At least Claude's going to get a little chicken in him. So then what happens as a result of Claude and Seal's dumb ass? He's like, do you realize what you've done? Don't you realize what you've done? And Seal's like, I've made a huge mistake. And they have to get their guns and get in their truck.
Yeah.
And now they're going to have to go help, which that brings into question with Claude going to a place, and Seal is also going to a place where their family does have that much grief, will El Cuco be able to manipulate them through his evil means or whatever? Are we going to end up with more bad guys than current? Because our setup now...
Yeah, I don't know what that little
entails.
team going out there means. I think maybe just thinking through it, like one of the downsides is that we're now putting Claude near doppelganger Cuco Claude.
Which gets confusing.
And also eliminates his alibi, basically.
Yes.
Right? Because he's not far away in a different location with witnesses.
Puts us in a bad spot because at the end of the day, goal number one is to out this thing so that this can no longer ruin innocent lives, right?
Right. But yeah, the ending is certainly kind of jaw-dropping, right? And pretty damn intense. If you are thinking that your mouth tastes like pennies going on a terrifying expedition, maybe just sit that one out. You know?
Yeah, next time we need to take into higher consideration the taste of pennies.
The penny taste, yeah.
Got the penny. If you got that reference just now, pat yourself on the back. Got the penny.
I don't catch it.
It's this random line in Band of Brothers that's one of the soldiers doing a reference to like a 30s movie or some shit that nobody's ever seen.
Okay, all right.
And it just always stuck in my head for some reason. One of those weird
Speaking
things.
of references to movies, you got Andy doing a little pop quiz for Holly, just throwing out old-timey movie lines that she's never seen the movies before, but she knows what they're from anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's weird as shit. Oh, dude. I thought Andy got.
So
for 30 seconds, I thought Andy was gone, and I was like, I mean, if I fucking gone, we just saw him make out in the car. Their love was so new, he can't be gone. And then I rewound it, and I was like, oh, it was the penny guy.
They
shouldn't have been eating ass.
They set that up like so over the top for you to think that it was going to be Andy that got.
Yeah.
With their little like they finally get like a nice smooch time. He's talking about the couples that die together because they just can't live without each. You know, they die a few days later because one spouse just can't live without the other. You know,
man, I was.
They're so they're finally having like a nice little romantic situation here. Yeah, I thought for sure I was like, oh well, this guy's dead.
Yeah,
but no, then they get Alec instead of Andy.
Shouts to
Alec. But that dude pops off a bunch of shots, so nobody's safe yet. That's for damn sure.
The way they executed the ending, with Alec's head getting blown off, the blood splattering onto what's his name? Ralph's face. Damn it! I was on such a good streak remembering Ralph's name. And then the screen going black, and we continue to hear sniper fire, was really, really eerie.
Oh yeah.
And just incredibly powerfully executed. So yeah, we have no idea if anybody else has been hit. What we see in the preview for next episode, certainly the madness is going to ensue. Mm-hmm. What else we have, considering the lawyer and the other squad coming, is at least there's someone sort of, as we see things maybe possibly go horribly wrong here. They certainly haven't started well for this expedition. Perhaps that other squad can kind of save the day or whatever.
Right.
We sort of have an ace in the hole in that way, right?
That could, yeah.
And they're strapped.
Although they're the ace in the hole because they blew the spot up as well. Like, they kind of,
They had to do something.
The whole Jack waiting with the sniper rifle is their fault in the first place.
They created the hole and were like, hey, we're the ace. And he's like, well, fuck you guys. What the hell? Alec got his head blown off.
But let's, we mentioned Ralph. Let's speak to him a little bit. He has been saying all along that they're not going to have to engage. They're just identifying and saying, okay, there he is. Go get this guy.
Yeah, but he didn't ever mean it. He's lying that whole
I know,
time.
right?
Yeah.
And we still have that's still kind of like an X factor, right? Like something. They've spent so much time talking about his grief over the loss of his son, and then his reluctance to accept that El Cuco exists. And now he's coming face to face with him. Like that has to
come to a head.
That has to come to a head in some way, right?
Absolutely.
Like
I think
something's going down.
I think it is far and away the biggest, like, remaining thing to use, right?
Yeah.
We are going to see even with Ralph's wife in the conversation at the beginning of the episode when she's backing out of the driveway, where, by the way, I shit in my pants when she almost hit that jogger.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because that scares the hell out of me every time. I almost hit a fucking idiot on a bicycle in Austin. No offense to bicyclers, they're just everywhere here. And it just gives you this horrible feeling of dread.
Of dread, yeah.
And they built this show, maybe more than anything I've ever watched, has built that.
That's always one of those. Most people have probably been there before, where you're like, you're either not paying attention, or you drift off, or like
you have a moment, whatever it is,
something happens, and then like you're like a foot or 2 feet or inches away from like hitting a jogger or a biker. From a horrible mistake that could not only end somebody else's life or cause serious harm, but you'd be ruined as well. So, and you're just like,
and you just have that feeling, right?
Yeah.
And this show creates that without me needing to do anything. And I'm like, yeah. But the way they built that makes me think, really, really, really makes me think what you just said is going to be a big factor, because his wife is desperately fearing for him, sees all of him as a vulnerability, right? Tries to express that to him. He's not having it. He's lying to her. Maybe. We don't know. Maybe there's still some situation. Maybe he really is going to call somebody in. I don't fucking know. Probably not, though. It seems like he has decided, basically, this is his battle to fight, and that he's going to go face this thing down.
Yeah.
No matter what that entails, basically.
Yeah. At this point, it's almost like he's kind of, I don't know. I get a small sense that he's almost like looking for the fight a little bit. I don't know. It's weird.
A little bit, yes. Yeah. Like it's almost self-destructive some.
Yeah. Now, there's another thing that there was a piece of this episode that I wasn't totally clear on, so I'm interested to get your take.
Yeah.
We're reintroduced to the district attorney, who is very, very convinced about Terry Maitland's guilt.
Right.
There's a new case. Looks very, very similar to the Terry Maitland boy. Do you remember? What was the kid's name? I can't remember anymore. He's got all sorts of looks on his face, telegraphing all sorts of nervousness and anguish. He knows. I get the feeling that he's seeing this, and he knows now that Terry Maitland was innocent.
I'm pretty sure that's supposed to be your takeaway. Yeah.
But where is this murder? Where has this happened? Was this El Cuco? Did he get to eat a child already? Like
There was, and another part of the reason that one got confusing for me is because during the course of the flashback unfolding, there was a point where I was like, oh shit, El Cuco's down there feeding or whatever, and now 2 children just wandered in for him to eat. He's going to be even more powerful. So that wasn't processing like as a flashback in my head yet.
Okay, yeah.
And it made just like that whole thing with the DA and the chick coming in and telling him all the more confusing, because I was like, wait, what?
Yeah, like I didn't know where that was, where that murder took place.
Yeah, I don't know.
It seems like if that had been something that El Cuco did, that they would have kind of clued us in on that. But as far as we know, he's just been hiding out down in the caves.
And maybe it brings back up the question, like, is this the only one? I don't know.
Right.
I don't know.
Yeah.
That's the thing. But yes, that was definitely like, that was definitely one of the things in this episode that made me question whether or not perhaps this would be the last season of this show too.
Yes. That's a great question. Are we getting more Outsider?
That was the first like real like thread where I was like, oh, they may pull this into another season.
Yeah.
Because to bring that back in from the wing, this DA, or district attorney rather, it was just so random, sort of.
Which, just to kind of take this full circle, if they kind of had this as an idea, like, hey, if this show does well, if people really vibe with this and a lot of people watch it and there's chatter.
Is there a formula?
Is there a formula here? And maybe that's why they didn't want 6 or 8 episodes, because they wanted to kind of like, it's like a company budget, right? You got to establish. If you don't spend those episodes, and they don't give them to you next time. So.
And they want 10 to play with.
And they right. So maybe for future stories, they like and obviously shows in the past on various television networks and channels and all sorts of stuff change how many shows they do in a season. But typically we see them get shorter, almost never longer.
Right.
You generally don't get an 8-episode season, and then they're like, oh, we're doing 10 this year.
Right.
Sometimes they'll scale it back. But I don't know. Maybe that's
part of the reason.
There's something to that.
So I'm I'm clicking around here. And generally what I'm seeing is like nobody's sure what the whole DA thing was.
Okay.
That perhaps it means that there's maybe a literal serial killer at work. I don't know. There's a lot of stuff here in terms of the symbolism and like the symbolic nature of El Cuco and the way he operates. We could still have another twist.
Yeah,
is a thing. Like we've been sort of looking for it, right? There was a point where we were like, "Is Ralph this thing?"
That's right.
And we've sort of tried to pin it on other stuff, and
yeah,
it's like
we've dropped off that second twist. You're exactly right.
Yeah, so it could be something related to that. Like it could be that maybe this is a serial killer situation that this thing can follow.
That has to do with it. That has to be part of a twist.
Or something, yeah.
Yeah.
So listen, in terms of, it wasn't the penultimate we expected, perhaps. It certainly wasn't what I expected. It was more setup. I expected this to be a bomb and then 10 to be picking up the pieces, sort of, Game of Thrones style.
Yep.
But it accomplished a lot, I think,
did.
for both of us in terms of what it was making us think about and in terms of the potential for the finale now, which... Listen, I was always like, when the penultimate style came into play, like really we started to notice it more and more and talk about how these penultimate episodes often pack more of a wallop than the finale themselves. It was almost a bummer for me at first. Like, I was like, damn, we kind of like, because it sucks to get to the finale and be like, it's just like chilling. Not
the finale it makes it so that the finale can sometimes be a bit of a letdown. And like, because it's still an episode of the show in the season.
But it's leading to next season.
Right, yeah. Exactly.
That's what it's doing. It's setting up next season. So, like, it's going to be fun to have all of our shit hit the fan in this last hour. And I wonder if it'll be any... You know how sometimes the episodes are longer for the finale? I wonder if we'll get, like, an hour 10 or something, but probably not. All in all, loved tigers and bears. Still don't understand the disrespect for lions. Ready to move on?
I'm ready.
Let's do it. This episode of OCC is also brought to you by Postmates. When you need red wine at 4 p.m., sushi at 9 p.m., a breakfast burrito at 8 a.m., and ibuprofen at 10 a.m., Postmate it. Postmates is your personal delivery, grocery delivery, whatever kind of delivery service all year round. Anything you're craving, Postmates can deliver. They're the largest on-demand network in the U.S., offer delivery from all the restaurants, grocery and convenience stores, traditional retailers you could possibly ever want or need, 24 hours a day. 365 days a year, Postmates will bring you what you want within the hour. No more trips to the store. You don't even have to know where the store is. Fuck the store. Postmates will deliver anything to you. Download the app on iOS or Android for free. Browse local restaurants and businesses. Track your delivery in real time. I used Postmates probably 3 to 5 times a week, depending on how busy I am at this point, and it just saves me a ton of time. It's incredibly convenient. The energy of not having to get up, go to the store, just be able to order whatever I want if I need a quick lunch or a smoothie or dinner, or maybe I forget something when I go to the grocery store, whatever it is. Postmates is clutch. It's huge. Love it. For a limited time, Postmates is giving our listeners $100 of free delivery credit for your first 7 days. To start your free deliveries, download the app and use the code OCC. That's code OCC, as in Oysters, Clams, Cockles. OCC for $100 of free delivery credit for your first 7 days when you download the Postmates app. Anything you need, anytime you need it, Postmate it. Download Postmates and save with code OCC. Don't stop binging. Just Postmate that shit. You don't even have to move. Now, let's talk about Curb Your Enthusiasm's 7th episode, The Ugly Section. You and I were laughing, both of us, separately, unaware of what either of us was even looking at or thinking about.
That's correct.
About the episode before we even started recording here.
Yeah, so I watched this one late last night, pretty late, and
what a bad boy.
Had to get in The Bachelor, Women Tell All. Obviously.
Of course you did.
That left Curb for a little bit later.
Scum.
So I was a little bit tired. And there was something from this episode, and it wasn't the Benvenuto, that I wanted to pull as my intro today.
Okay.
And I can't remember what it was now.
Oh.
And so I was going back and just reading a little recap of the episode.
Yeah.
To see if it would jog my memory.
Okay.
And so I just started reading a little bit about the episode, and then I just started thinking about Larry sitting in the ugly section, having a meltdown, screaming about, how did I get here? How is this my life?
How did I get here? like no regard for what anybody else in the restaurant thinks.
Just laughing out loud. And again, like some of the funniest moments of this episode for me were just when he would constantly, because for some reason he just kept coming back to this restaurant 5 times or whatever. And every time just walking through the ugly section. Oh my God. Oh, what a horror show. What a freak show.
What happened here?
Just like
every table. And then they picked
all of his little comments about how just disgusting the ugly section was just
and honestly
so funny to me.
I have been in a place in my life before where I've had this sort of feeling, and it was at a Schlitterbahn. I find Schlitterbahn to be the most unattractive place on earth. And it's just where humans are at our worst. We have very little clothing on. We're all eating Dippin' Dots, and it's just disgustingly hot outside.
Yeah.
And we're sweaty and
just
smelly.
Swimming in filth.
Peeing on each other. It's just
peeing all over the place.
It's a goddamn nightmare. And you look around and you just go, Jesus Christ, humans are disgusting. That's what this section makes me think. When they're panning from table to table, I'm just like, yes, generic American scum. And Larry... in his reactions to those tables each time. And you bring up the fact that he just keeps coming back to the restaurant. Well, that's always Larry's deal, right? Like he'll never, it's like, dude, you could move on from this situation so easily, but he never does. He must embrace the chaos. The maitre d's name,
Nick Kroll.
I like Nick Kroll, man. Some people hate Nick Kroll.
I'm not sure how you could hate Nick Kroll.
I don't get it. But a lot, it's like I routinely get told by people they don't like Nick Kroll.
That's crazy. Some of his sketches on the Kroll Show are like just absolute insane hilarity.
He makes Big Mouth, right?
He makes Big Mouth. He does a bunch of the voices on Big Mouth, which one of my favorite shows out right now.
Now he's on Curb.
He was hilarious on The League.
Yep.
Like
I don't get
this dude, and he clearly has the end with LD, man. What's not to like here?
Now the respect level is at an all-time high from me because if you can get on Curb, you've done it.
He has always been. I mean, a lot of comedians are great with the facial stuff, but I still don't even understand what the look that those two gave each other at the end of the episode was. But it made me pee my pants. Like just his smarmy little like smile that he had just.
It was him being like. Yeah, I just yelled the ugly section. Yeah, I don't care. It came to that. Fuck it. Yes. It was just like, dude, I thought this was one of the better, like, in terms of episodes that all tie together and you don't end up feeling like there was a bunch of weird wasted time. I thought this was one of the better episodes.
Sure.
And I gave it a lot of laughs, man. It got a lot of laughs out of me, especially with Kroll and his fucking faces, him and Larry reacting to each other, bro. It was just, I was dying. And then they brought in Jenna from 30 Rock.
Yes, yeah.
Which I
Jane
was
Krakowski.
So stoked on her and her magical vagina.
I don't think you could have cast that role more perfectly.
Yes, she's great.
You know, like just like thinking about what this wife with the magic V looks like.
Yeah.
You know, then he's a guy's older, 65, 70 years old, what have you.
Sure.
So age appropriate, right? Like this, she was excellent.
Carl, the guy who was married to her, that we meet at the beginning of the episode, he commits suicide.
That's right.
Because he's a Jets fan.
Yeah.
Which the Jets tie into this episode was so goddamn good and random. It was just so random to have a Jets episode in the NFL offseason.
It really, really was. And I was thinking about that. Like you and I, big time football fans. Yeah. Obviously, we're heavily invested in fantasy. Pay attention to the draft.
We know a lot about suffering too because we're Texans fans.
That's right. No, I mean, we know college football as well. So like all those Jets jokes about how they passed on Deshaun Watson and like all that stuff. Like we're very familiar.
He yelled at Watson in his sleep.
Watson.
She asked if it was a Sherlock Holmes thing.
But that crossed my mind. I was like, man, I wonder if all this Jet stuff is going to land for people that aren't pretty familiar with the NFL.
I think it lands for anybody who knows a sports fan who's too heavily invested.
Okay.
Right?
Sure.
Like this guy literally let the Jets ruin his life to the degree that he killed himself, and then no one around him found that to be absurd. They all blamed the Jets. The goddamn Jets. She's like, the fucking Jets. Like, dude, and it's just... this has become more and more of like the Jets thing. It was just the Jets aren't a franchise deserving of a Curb Your Enthusiasm episode. So it was strange to see the Jets.
Well, so I didn't know that Larry David was a big Jets fan.
He's a Jets fan, yeah.
He obviously is, but I did especially appreciate the addition. I think when he's talking to Leon about that the guy killed himself over the Jets and about how much suffering that the Jets have caused for this guy and for Larry and for all Jets fans. And then he's like, and the Knicks too. A little bit of the Knicks,
A little bit of the Knicks. I think he said it to his wife even. He might have been. He's like, it was the goddamn Jets. And a little bit of the Knicks.
A little bit of the Knicks.
Yeah. And I think Larry isn't Larry a Knicks guy?
Oh, and Larry, I know Larry is a Knicks guy.
His sports fandom has just been shit the last 20 years.
Which,
actually, longer than that.
This entire episode may have even hit harder if it had been the Knicks, who just lost their last fan today, actually, in Spike Lee.
Yes, I saw
no
that.
longer going to attend any home games. The one dude spends $300K a year on those floor seats. He's not coming to any more home games because they kicked him out last game for using the wrong entrance.
Did you see the press statement that the Knicks franchise put out?
Yes, it was boneheaded, to say the least. I do not know what is happening over there.
Can I just read it? It's very short. I'm just going to read it. Statement from the New York Knicks. The idea that Spike Lee is a victim because we have repeatedly asked him to not use our employee entrance and instead use a dedicated VIP entrance, which is used by every other celebrity who enters the Garden, is laughable. It's disappointing that Spike would create this false controversy to perpetuate drama. He is welcome to come to the Garden anytime via the VIP or general entrance, just not through our employee entrance, which is what he and Jim agreed to last night when they shook hands. Jim?
That's old
Spike?
Jimmy D. Jimmy
What
Dolan.
is this, the most casual press release of all time? You mean Mr. Dolan, the owner of the franchise? This team doesn't even call its owner. They just call him Jim.
Jim. That's all he deserves.
Jim Dolan, that is all he deserves. But my God, this is bizarre behavior for a professional sports franchise to burn the only bridge it even has left. The only thing keeping it even remotely relevant was Spike Lee. Yeah. And it's beautiful for everyone else in the NBA.
Classic case also, what's going on there is like nobody can band together, right? Like it's like when you want to do a boycott, but the boycott hinges on everybody boycotting, right?
Right.
Like just imagine if nobody for one game showed up to a Knicks home game.
Right. He'd be forced to do something. Something would have to happen. But New York is too big.
Exactly. Yeah.
And there are too many people who don't even know the circumstances who are like, you want to go to a Knicks game?
Right.
It's $8. You know?
Yeah.
So, Anyway, to get back to Curb. At the funeral for Carl, Larry and Jeff have the conversation about how long you should wait before you approach a grieving widow.
Mm-hmm.
And they say under the circumstances of a magical vagina, 6 months.
6 months.
But normally a year. And Larry immediately gets up and approaches her during the funeral, right then and there. Gets her number, starts texting with her immediately after the fact.
He dives in head first, like Pete Rose.
He does. I wish we had the graphic that fucking Arrested Development throws up when they mention Pete Rose. There was a weird aside, which was Richard Lewis's Bentley.
Yeah.
And Larry's like, "What are you doing? Like, are you trying to get robbed?" And then they get held up.
That whole thing was pretty funny. Just them getting held up, especially. It all played out in a very comical way.
Indeed.
But I especially liked that little side story because I felt like that gave real life insight into why. Because that part has always been true to Larry. Usually he's in a Prius in the early seasons, and then in the later seasons he's been in this BMW electric car.
Right, he's a hybrid guy.
And he doesn't even
guy.
Right, and there is the i8 is like the super fancy, super sports looking BMW version of that electric car, and he even chooses the little boxy, kind of silly looking one.
He's a discreet car guy.
Yeah, and so I appreciated it because, whether completely accurate or not, I feel like that's one of the reasons why Larry chooses those rides.
So he's not a target.
And
not as noticeable.
He's right. He doesn't want to be driving around in flashy, noticeable, ostentatious cars.
Yeah. No, obviously driving a Bentley makes you more prone to like some type of petty robbery situation.
Sure.
Of course it does. Also, the idea of Richard Lewis driving a Bentley just in general.
Can we also, speaking of Richard Lewis, what was going on with the giant Ohio State flat brim that he was golfing in?
They always have questionable golf fashion, this squad.
It must be just like It's got to be true to life, though.
What
is
is
just
he, a huge Buckeyes fan?
It's just the Los Angeles golf scene. It looks just kind of like it's just a little out on the fringes like that.
I think so.
Yeah,
I think so.
Everybody's trying to get a fit off on the golf course out there, huh?
And Richard Lewis is just like, what age am I? I had to stop wearing flat bills. I'm 32. What the fuck is he doing? He's like 78.
Let's see. I'm looking it up now to see if maybe he went to Ohio State. But whether he did or he did not does not change the fact that he was wearing that hat like a fool.
Very true.
Yeah.
One of the things that I have loved about this season of Curb so far is that it has sort of brought in all these like Seinfeld-esque observations to back into, like, it always has done this, but it's like the modern day ones that I would have liked them to approach, they have started to approach. Mm-hmm. Like, in random shit that I like to bitch about, like toilet splashback has like come into play.
Richard Lewis did go to Ohio State, so at least he's got that.
Oh, he did?
Yeah, he went to Ohio State. So it wasn't a random school hat to be thrown on his head.
Okay.
You just think that the guy would pick like a dad cap maybe?
Yeah, you would feel Richard Lewis is more of a dad cap guy.
That's like a big, bright, flat bill. It's just weird looking.
And that's the Los Angeles in him, I think.
Yeah,
He's been out there too goddamn long. But the thing in this episode that sort of reminded me of those kind of complaints, and it's another thing I've literally discussed on the Ross Bolen podcast and complained about, is the bathroom attendant and the situation that causes. And for me, my complaint is it's not really about privacy so much as it is like, I don't know how to avoid the guy, and I hate that I feel obligated to tip him and all that stuff, and it really plays out for me in a way that's always awkward as fuck, and I'm just like, dude, fuck off. And they're always in strip clubs, too.
Oh, that's, yeah.
And I don't go to strip clubs often, so when I do, and I know they're in there,
that's the one location.
I don't want to go pee.
That's the one location where it's like 100%.
I'll sit in the strip club and just not even go to the restroom and just hurt because I don't want to go deal with that guy. So that coming into play the way that it did, and then Larry, of course, getting him fired for leaving his post, the way it played out at the end with the dude needing to take a shit and Larry then refusing to give him privacy and making demands, rehired the guy, the bathroom attendant, etc. I just loved all that. It was good old-fashioned Curb, Seinfeld, Larry David observational humor. So good stuff all in all.
Yeah, kind of one final note from me on this episode. I think this is a pretty recurring theme for Curb over all of its seasons, but I don't know if it's felt, and again, as I've said on the pod, it's been a long time since I've revisited those early seasons. So when I'm talking about this stuff as if it's novel or new for the show,
yeah,
and I really can't remember.
It keeps happening to me
I really can't remember if it is or not.
Recency bias.
But a large theme of this season so far has that Larry's his ways, his antics, continue to stop him from getting laid.
Right. And that has been a theme.
Yeah, this is the third time now in 7 episodes, basically, where he is, he in an opportunity, in a sex-having opportunity, he is antagonistic instead of normal, and therefore
it costs him. And he's like, okay then.
And in no way more painful than this one, when you've got a magical thing happening.
A magical vagina. And you just
don't see that often, you know?
Just can't ruin that. I love the son of the doctor. First of all, it's the guy from Righteous Gemstones,
right, yep. Mm-hmm.
And he's phenomenal. But the way that played out was so good that by the end he's literally like treating patients with he does a full body examination, and then he says only one word can describe it. Magical.
Yeah.
Great episode. You want to do our top 5 for today?
We can jump in. Let's do top 5.
Our top 5 for today is Keanu Reeves.
Ooh, it's a good one. Man, it's a good one.
Keanu Reeves, who is experiencing still the Keanu Renaissance, went from once A-list sort of mocked actor almost to now reborn pop culture icon and almost like a Chuck Norris-y type of situation, except he's still getting movies.
Yeah.
And has like multiple very live franchise opportunities going.
That's right. He's definitely, I think you said it best when you called him a pop culture icon, because the renaissance for him has really been, heralded by the John Wick franchise.
Yes.
And he is doing some other stuff, but
That's John Wick 1.
That's really it.
Relaunched
And then he's been, he got the feature in Toy Story 4. They're redoing Bill and Ted. Now he's got Matrix 4 coming out in next year.
They're doing more John Wicks. They're
doing more John Wicks. So yeah, he's back on the scene now. But we haven't really. I don't think we've seen anything, and it's probably only a matter of time for him now with the way things are going. But you'd think that he kind of grabs at maybe like an Oscar-ish role or two over the next year or 3.
That would be interesting to see.
Don't you think, though?
I would imagine he takes a swing for sure.
Because, I think this guy has chops.
I mean, if you get him in the right spot, I think so.
Okay.
But he's one of those guys, he's sort of almost like a Nicolas Cage, where if you get him overextended, shit gets a little funny.
Okay.
You know?
Yeah.
The bees! Not the bees! You can't put Keanu in that movie. The same shit's going to happen.
Yeah, that's fair.
You know?
Yeah.
He did The Replacements, Barrett.
Great film.
I don't know if he's allowed to win an Academy Award.
Not going to crack my top 5, but it's a very fun. It's a fun hang.
What about Hardball? Is that going to crack your top 5?
So I'm looking at my list here, and I'm still sussing it all out. I don't think it's going to make it.
Nah.
But
I don't think so either.
But I loved Hardball. I really did. Yeah.
He just Keanu's for the kids, dude.
Did you watch? There's another one. This one's not going to make my top 5, but this speaks to one of his pop culture moments of the last few years. Did you watch the Netflix movie Always Be My Maybe?
No.
It's a romantic comedy on Netflix starring, I think, Ali Wong, comedian.
Indeed.
I'll just double check that right quick. Yes, that is correct. And
well done.
At one point, he becomes her boyfriend as Keanu Reeves.
Okay.
And it's one of these roles where it's like a very self-deprecating, I'm playing this kind of like over-the-top version of kind of the caricature that people think Keanu Reeves is.
Oh, shit.
Yeah,
I have to watch this.
It's really funny. Honestly, it's the best part of the movie, which is so-so outside of that.
Okay, fair enough. I'll get into my 5.
Get into your 5 for me.
And you can sort of pull as I go, okay? Inarguably, The Matrix is in there. Now, I'm going to bump it down to 2 for one reason and one reason only.
Okay.
John Wick, in the way that it not only launched his career, but in the way that it's sort of like, it's the first fucking pure action movie I've gone and seen. I didn't even see it in theaters. I saw it afterward when all the hype was going crazy. That I've watched where I was like, this was legitimately like really, really sick. The way everything was, like the action in it, I love the setup. You fuck with dogs, you must die. Everything about it is awesome. So John Wick is my number 1 Keanu Reeves film. And here's another thing about that makes it strange. I have actively refused to watch the sequel or the third out of fear that it may derail. And what I've heard is that they're both quite good.
Yeah.
But I'm still scared.
Yeah.
Because it's like there was too many too quickly. Mm-hmm. The first one came out and suddenly there were like 4. And I was like, what the fuck is that? But love the first one. Totally understand why it became like the cultural touchstone that it did.
Yeah, what John Wick did is it kind of like we had these like big time 80s and 90s like really silly action movies, right?
Right.
And then that kind of fell off and was replaced by the Jason Bourne kind of like
more realistic,
spy
gritty
thriller, gritty action mix. And then Bond was kind of able to replicate that. And then Tom Cruise like took it one more level with like the action and the stunt work with the Mission Impossible franchise.
Right.
So we have some of these working action franchises that are doing things really, really well. But then John Wick like takes it all the way back to basics and is basically, this is like a one-track killing mission in that style of like, even like a Jean-Claude Van Damme style movie like a Hard Target, where it's one dude
killing hundreds of people.
Killing tons of people.
Like, boom, 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 another boom, 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 boom. Like,
yeah.
He's like aiming before I can even realize he's killed the other guy that he just shot.
Pulls on these threads from some of like the Kung Fu and I think Japanese style movies like The Raid.
Right.
And
it borrows from a whole bunch of stuff, apparently.
Also, uses Keanu Reeves to the absolute best of his abilities he's perfect in this role.
Yeah, he's like the brooding, angry,
with the straight face, and it's like kind of the whole thing is kind of self-referential and like self-deprecating about Keanu being the woe guy, right? And so it's just like they just hit it out of the park with this style of action movie that should be really silly.
The woe guy.
Whoa. But just works really well and is a ton of fun.
You left one action franchise out.
Which one did I leave out?
Deserves credit, I think, for birthing this one, and it's Taken. And I would argue John Wick is essentially like a Taken concept, executed in a much better way. First of all, Taken 1 was fun, but let's be real, that's not a good movie. This is a good movie, and it's a more polished sort of attempt at that old school action, like you said.
Yeah, so two things. I think Taken is a good movie.
It's okay. All right, it's good. It's good. It's not great. It's good.
One of the big differences, I would say, is that the following John Wick movies like are able to kind of keep shape-shifting and doing different things while keeping the formula.
Have you seen all of them?
And I haven't seen the third one.
But you're aware that they do this, okay?
But I know that they all have great scores on Rotten Tomatoes. People love all three of them,
right?
And so they keep going back to the well, but they keep creating new things that are still working. Whereas like the Taken follow-ups.
Oh my God. What the fuck, bro? I bought one. Okay.
Similar to another of Keanu's franchises, The Matrix, in which the sequels were god-awful.
I didn't care for them either. I thought they were all shit. Didn't even see whatever the last one was.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know what happened with Taken. But it was one of those hungover mornings where I was like, I need a movie, and I was like, I want to watch Taken 2, and they didn't have it available for rent. You had to. It was only buy.
Oof.
And I said, fuck it, because it was that hungover, like, just screw it. I need this now. Put it inside my brain. And by the time it was over, the hangover was worse. Like, the movie was that bad. Fuck that movie. And yes, that's the other reason John Wick deserves a lot of credit. And I'm looking forward to watching 2 and 3. If you're listening and you're like, Ross, watch the other ones. They're great. I know. Just tweet at me to remind me, though, just for fun. So, John Wick 1, Matrix 2. I'm going to say Speed is my 3.
Okay.
Because Speed was one of those defining 90s action movies that originally made Keanu famous. So it's cool that he has like these defining action movies coming later. But Speed's an all-time classic. You can still catch it on TV 25 times a year. Come on, man. It's a speeding fucking bus. What's not to love? With a bomb on it. I'm going to say my number 5. Wait, what was that, 4? Yes, that was 4. No, that was 3. My number 4 is Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure.
Okay.
Strictly because I used to buy the cereal as a child, and I once received the telephone booth toy in that cereal. And I had it for years and years. And my number 5, Barrett, is Knock Knock.
Okay. I need to see Knock Knock.
Knock Knock's awesome.
Yeah.
It's really awesome. I would argue Knock Knock, that was a big part of the Renaissance. I think people don't give Knock Knock enough credit.
I know you've talked about this movie before. Did Knock Knock come out in theaters, or is it a Netflix movie?
Eli Roth, isn't it?
Producer Mike says it's Eli Roth. It had to have been in theaters.
Well, that doesn't mean it wasn't one or the other, though.
It was a short run.
Short run in theaters, Mike says. Okay, but it's the one that has Ana de Armas and Lorenza Izzo, and they basically they fuck up Keanu's life. The movie only cost $2 million to make. It made 6.3 in the box office, so it definitely was geared towards success on streaming, probably. Sure. But I'm telling you, regardless of whatever scores it may have in whatever fucking field, if you enjoy Keanu Reeves, you will like this movie. If you like Ana de Armas, you will really like this movie.
Okay. Before I kind of tell you where some of those are on my top 5 and add a couple.
There's a shower scene.
I wanted to give a couple of honorable mentions here that we haven't talked about yet.
Oh, sure, hon.
Something's Gotta Give.
Who could forget Something's Gotta Give? That is a good movie.
Which is a great movie. Keanu is not a main player here. Right. It's just another one of his like kind of all-time cameos where he dates Diane Keaton.
And he's great.
And it's awesome.
Yeah, and they somehow like... Didn't they present with each other?
Yeah, they did.
Oh yeah, that was cool.
I can't remember if that was the Globes or the Oscars.
I can't
but they did. It was,
Oscars,
but they did present together in kind of a kind of a throwback there.
Cool moment.
Speed did not make my list. I actually watched it recently. Not in the last. Within the last 2 years, I watched Speed. It's been on HBO or whatever.
Yeah.
And it's a good, fun film, but there are some pieces of it that are so 90s.
Yeah.
That it's just like
it's so cheesy, dude.
There are a lot of like big cheese moments.
Oh yeah, I just love it because I've seen it so many times.
But I mean, it's a classic. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
I didn't include it because there are some where you're going to see it on the back half of my list, especially. There are some movies that I just like. They stick with me for various reasons.
Okay.
So I can knock out the first two easily. My one is The Matrix. It's just it was a game changer. It was way ahead of its time.
How many times did you watch The Matrix? Probably, you know,
there's no telling how many times.
It's one of those movies everyone rewatched.
Yeah,
that's rare as fuck.
I mean, Keanu Reeves is the one, right? He is Neo.
Man,
you just can't separate those two things. Just groundbreaking. And like again,
which pill did he take? Blue or red?
I think red. I think red because
red.
That is, he takes red, and that is where the term red pilling comes from.
Oh yeah, thank you, Barrett.
Like if you want to know the real shit, then you're red pilled.
Yeah.
Okay. 2, John Wick. Recency bias there a little bit, but also it is the vehicle that is bringing Keanu back into our lives.
Deserves respect.
It deserves a lot of this. 3 for me is Point Break.
Oh, dude, I didn't even remember Point Break. That's great.
Which I think is maybe like the most classic. Like that's the movie that put Keanu on the map as this guy that was the kind of bro-y surfer type, but could also carry a movie and be this action guy.
Have a little drama to him.
Yeah, and chase down Patrick Swayze in President's Masks.
I need to go watch that again. It has been 20 years.
Yeah. Now that's a movie that holds up.
Okay, so that I definitely have to rewatch it because it wasn't even in consideration for me because it's been so long that I couldn't even really remember it.
It's awesome. It's pretty awesome. Okay, get to some weird ones for me here. So 4 is The Watcher.
The fuck?
This was a film where Keanu Reeves got to play the bad guy. In fact, he is a serial killer that is murdering women by strangling them. Aww. And does some like dark stalking and is like this super evil, brooding, hot guy villain. Have no idea what the critical reception to this movie was, but it stands out to me as like one of the first like really weird, like dark thriller movies that I was able to watch and engage with and kind of like understand why it was so creepy. You know what I mean?
You were like, I could do this.
It's just like I think it was also like it was 180 for Keanu as well, right? Like he was this
instead of being lovable.
Yeah, he was trying to do something different with The Watcher. So
that was in the year 2000. Wow.
Yeah, I'm looking here now. I'm on his Rotten Tomatoes list.
Wow.
Critically panned very, very badly.
Well, how long has it been since you saw The Watcher?
10% on Tomato Meter.
How long has it been since you saw
The Watcher? The Watcher has Keanu Reeves cast against type, but the movie is short on thrills, suspense, and believability is the consensus.
Oh, wow. That's a panning,
It's
Barrett.
been many, many years since I've seen it.
I guarantee you it's one of those ones where if you watched it now, you'd be like, Jesus.
I might. And a movie and something like that almost made my list. But again, because I haven't seen it in so long
10%.
and I can't remember exactly, like I can picture what Keanu looks like in this movie, but I don't remember the performance, and so I felt like a poser putting it on. But The Devil's Advocate,
dude, that's a fun ass movie.
like that's a great film too.
That's the one where Pacino's in there too,
Yeah,
and he's the lawyer.
Yeah.
Oh, I love that shit.
That probably is more deserving of a top 5.
Maybe, yeah.
Anyway, 5 for me is A Scanner Darkly.
Okay, you're a Scanner Darkly fan.
Which again is just like, one, it has the weird kind of conspiracy sci-fi like trippy stuff that gets me.
Yeah.
You know? Like I dig that shit.
Oh yeah.
This is Philip K. Roth. Is that the novel?
I can do it.
Or Philip K. Dick.
Philip Dick.
Google. Yeah.
Phil Dick.
Yeah, who does all sorts of that weird type of stuff.
I think they made that here in Austin.
And this movie is completely rotoscoped. So it looks like the outline
right.
/ cartoon thing is going on.
Sin City-ish, but further even. Way further.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah.
Can I read one thing real quick?
Please do.
Here's part of the review for A Scanner Darkly by Kim Newman, who works on it at Empire. For Dick fans, this is pure, uncut, grade A dope. Come on, Kim. You didn't see the issue here? Or was this intentional? Either way. Great work, Kim. Great work, Kim.
Yeah.
All right.
But that one, it's just,
Dick fans.
It's such a unique look that it really stands out.
Yeah.
In my mind.
Grade A dope.
And Keanu's always good in these roles where it's like kind of like, what's going on? There's something up. Whoa.
Things are crazy. I'm having trouble wrapping my mind around exactly what's occurring. But keep explaining it through the cell phone while I roll around these cubicles. Like, that movie rules. I might watch it when I get home tonight.
It's very good.
Do you count voice acting shit like Toy Story? What do we do with stuff like that?
No,
it doesn't count.
I don't.
It doesn't count.
No.
Just point blank. It's just tough because we'll never be able to put like an animated film into a top 5.
I mean, you could. Like, I could see, not that he has a huge filmography, but like Tim Allen as Buzz Lightyear. Like for Tom Hanks, Toy Story is probably not going to make anybody's top 5 because he's Tom Hanks and he's been in like a million films.
Fair enough. Good point.
Like, Tom Hanks is Woody, so if I could see that argument, right?
Yeah, that's fair. Okay, that's fair. That's very fair. Yes, and Tim Allen is a rat, but also is Buzz Lightyear, bro.
Yeah.
It's in his top 5.
Right.
He's also Santa Claus.
He's also the Santa Claus. Those are probably the top 2 for old Tim.
Santa Claus and Buzz Lightyear.
Timmy Allen.
Which says a lot, Tim, frankly.
Dude, those two alone, not even talking about the Home Improvement reruns,
bro.
Those keep the checks flowing.
That man, who once ratted out a lot of people for dealing cocaine, can now buy all of the cocaine in the entire world. The mailbox money he has to be getting off that shit.
Yeah.
He's yelling to infinity and beyond all day while he does rails
straight to
in
the
that
bank,
house.
as they say.
Yeah, allegedly.
Yeah.
Allegedly. Parenthood. Neither one of us.
Don't remember that one.
Good-ass movie. Good-ass movie. And I think it's one that I would argue has held up rather well. Indeed.
Parenthood. What happens in Parenthood?
It's Mike. You wanna help me out here? No. Nah, fuck it.
He's like, and then
he's the boyfriend, right?
the fucked up boyfriend.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's a classic Steve Martin film.
Gotcha.
About being a parent, and Keanu Reeves is the boyfriend who Steve Martin has conflict with.
Cheaper by the dozen.
Was that who was that? Kutcher?
And Cheaper by the dozen?
Yeah.
Nah, Steve Martin.
That was Steve Martin too. Ashton Kutcher wasn't in that?
Nah.
Huh.
That's this Smallville guy.
Father of the Bride.
There you
Steve
go.
Martin was in that. I had to get a Steve Martin movie in there. Felt like I'm disrespecting an all-time comedy god. Bowfinger. There we go. There's another. I owned that. It's just a weird movie to buy on DVD.
Okay, so The Watcher was also one that we owned.
Ah, that's why it's in your
owned
fucking
it.
top 5.
It might even be. I think we had the DVD.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a DVD.
See,
it was a DVD.
when we do Steve Martin or some shit or Eddie Murphy at some point, that motherfucker will be on mine just because I had it on DVD.
Yeah. So in 2001 or whatever, when we had 15 movies that you could put on at any time, The Watcher was one of them. So.
Yeah.
10% on Rotten Tomatoes.
And you got to remember, folks, in 2001, the rest of that DVD catalog was just the first 2 Fast and the Furious movies. So those were the 3 options, and Benjamin Button.
Damn, Cheaper by the Dozen did $138 million at the box office.
They know what they're doing out there. And that was a while back.
Yeah.
So those are big digits. Big old dollar signs.
Yeah.
Or did you do...
How about that?
We did both of our 5s. We're done, right?
Yeah, we're done.
Look at us. Keanu Reeves. Respect Mr. Reeves. What was the movie I need to go watch?
The Matrix?
No. But yes, I'll rewatch The Matrix. But there was one that you said it was really, really good. It made your list, and I haven't seen it. Right?
Point Break?
Point Break. Haven't seen it in 20 years. Need to go rewatch it.
Classic.
It's give me 10 seconds of plot. What is the setup?
Keanu Reeves is a
surfer,
new cop that goes undercover to infiltrate a gang of surfers who are doing bank robberies on the side.
How the fuck have I not seen that in 20 years? Did they try to remake this?
They did.
Did it crash and burn?
Kind of.
That's what you get.
Didn't do well.
Can't go after a Keanu classic.
They did, and they tried to go too new school with it. Like in the original, they're surfing, and then there are some scenes where they like skydive and they do some other like high action type stuff. And so the new one tried to go all the way with that. And so it's like the guy,
an X Games movie?
Pretty much. The guy like gets involved with this clique and they're like hella skiing and snowboarding off cliffs and like doing crazy skydives. And like they went all the way with the action sports piece of it.
Like Triple X.
Yeah. And so I just remember seeing the trailer and I was like, it feels like the plot of this movie is very much like the C or D priority. Right? It's like priority number 1 is like, hey, check out all these dudes doing sweet ass flips off mountains.
You want the plot.
11% on the new Point Break, by the way, tomato meter.
Well, it's better than the one you put in your top 5.
It is, but it's higher than The Watcher.
There's too. Now I have to watch The Watcher just to see exactly how bad it is. Now I have to watch Point Break, and I might have to watch the new one after I watch the old one just to see how badly they fucked it up.
I'm gonna have to go figure out if The Watcher is available anywhere because I need to see what stuck with me about this film.
Like none of the streaming services are even picking it up. They're all passing. The studio's like, listen, you can put it on Netflix for free. We won't even take any money. And they're like, we really don't want it. We have this thing called The Witcher. This sounds too familiar to that. We'll pass.
Here's the one tomato review I can find for it. Not half bad as a rental.
As a creator, if I ever make something that's the review, fuck it.
If we ever get to make a movie and somebody says it's pretty good as a rental, I'd stream it. That's pretty good.
I will take that over whatever I read earlier.
Yeah.
Just a horrific takedown. You know? And that will do it for today's episode of OCC. Huge thanks to our sponsors. Again, as always, remember to support our sponsors to support the show. FelixGrayGlasses.com/OCC. Download the Postmates app and use the code OCC. And also hit Patreon.com/Oysters, Clams, Cockles for more of OCC each month.
I think, just a tease here, but I'm pretty sure that our movie club of the month is going to be The Hunt, which is finally releasing in theaters.
Barrett and I have been following this, the Hunt saga.
Yeah, we
for
have.
months and months and months.
Some people are saying that we're the country's foremost experts on the saga.
No one more excited than us.
The other thing about the movie, Ross, is that it's people killing people.
Love people killing people.
So that's a thing that
people
happens.
hunting people.
People hunting people in the movie. People killing people. So that's just
we're gonna have fun.
Yeah,
we're gonna go to the theater. And we're going to eat a shit ton of popcorn and pizza while we watch people hunting people.
Here's another review of The Watcher. A shockingly, unbelievably bad movie.
Okay. Listen, there is great comedy to incredible takedown reviews, like to reviews that just shred movies. Oh, it still shouldn't exist because it's fucked up because a lot of people put their time and effort into that. But it's hilarious at the same time.
Yeah, I don't think this movie held up well also. Just as things go in the modern day.
Look at you just backing further and further away from it before the show closes.
I need to, because here's another review. If I never see another scene in which a woman is bound and gagged while her killer struts around the room, basking in his own psychotic cleverness, I won't mind a bit. I really indicted myself by putting this through.
I fucking love that this happened to you. I love
my
this.
top 5.
This is beautiful. The Watcher? What the fuck? It's one of those movies that, just really stuck with me.
Ross, it was not half bad as a rental, okay?
It's not half bad as a rental. I have to name the episode Not Half Bad as a Rental. Thank you. Going up to make it was, just for the record, it was going to be titled Penultimate Cuckoo. This is much better. Not half bad as a rental. There we go, folks.
Sometimes when you talk on a podcast, you step in it. You out yourself as a, with some weird psychiatric mom stuff, or
hey, it happens, man.
While watching Mrs. Fletcher, or you put the Watcher in your top 5 of Keanu Reeves films, and there's nothing you can do about it.
No, it's too late. I mean, there's something we could do about it, but we won't. We won't. It's just too much fun not to. Patreon.com/Oysters, Clams, Cockles. We're going to do our top 5 living actors and actresses tomorrow evening, or I'm sorry, at lunch, Barrett.
Yeah, I got to go do some prep work.
Oh, yeah. Should be available in the evening for you all to listen to. Very excited about that. Very excited to go see The Hunt. Very excited for everything. The Throwback Movie Club we may do later. We've got that open slot Barrett discussed. And our Hotline Call extravaganza for members of the Mollusk Militia at the end of the month as well. Follow our show on social media for updates on new episodes when we have Movie Club.
Throwback Movie Club might have to be The Watcher at this point.
We really might have. We do The Hunt, then we do The Watcher. Instagram at Oysters, Clams, Cockles. Twitter at Clams and Cockles. Facebook.com/Oysters, Clams, Cockles. Follow me, Ross Bolen, at WRBolen, at WRBOLEN. On Twitter, Instagram, and Snapchat. Also listen to the Ross Bolen podcast wherever you are listening to OCC. Mr. Barrett Dudley, where can we follow you on social media and also hear more of your voice?
You can follow me at Barrett Dudley on Twitter and Instagram. Check out the Club Cool podcast wherever you're listening to this one. After a week off, we'll be back with a new episode this week.
Ooh, love to hear it. Thank you all for listening. Thank you for your support. Hope you're loving everything we're watching as much as we are. Until your next helping, adios, muchachos.